Hey my peeps, check out this 2017 trip that I made into Laos. It was pretty awesome. Leave a comment if you like it. Alright, road trip diaries. Just thought I'd stop here because it's a little bit cool this morning and it's still like 10 o'clock in the morning and I wanted to stop and get a coffee or something because my morning started out pretty quick. Busy doing all kinds of things. So I thought I'd stop and have a coffee. And it is a nice place to sit. It's quiet. They make a nice coffee, local coffee. It's sweetened with condensed milk and I like it. And I'm going to sit here for about 30 minutes until it warms up just a little bit more and get back out on the road because it's a little chilly. Not that cold, it's 18 degrees. I'm being a bit of a pussy, but it's cool enough for me to stop and have a coffee anyway. Having a roadside coffee. There's my bike, there's the road. What the hell is that noise? Having a roadside coffee. Well, I have to say one thing that's very interesting about riding around in Laos is that I'm following the Mekong River. And this is the Mekong River right here. The most interesting thing about that is I'm now standing in Laos because of course this is my little Laos tour. Right behind me, that's Thailand. All that you see over there is Thailand. Out in the West we hear a lot of things about human trafficking and all that other stuff and smuggling and Laotian girls being smuggled out of Laos to help fuel the sex trade in Thailand and things like that. You think sometimes in the West, you know, they're smuggled in the back of cars or, you know, in burlap bags or whatever. But it's not like that. You can pretty much just take a boat. And in some places you can actually walk and you just go from here to there and you're in Thailand. And I've been out here all day long. I haven't seen one cop. There's no border patrols around here. You know, I'm in a very rural kind of village, as you can see around me. I could just walk over there to Thailand. There's another rural village right over there, and nobody'd be the wiser. So it's really not that difficult. It's not that big of a, well, it's a big of a deal, but I mean it's not that big of a deal trying to get it done. Very typical of the region, but it's beautiful out here. It's an amazing little village that I'm in right now. It's pretty cool and it's really nice. To do every day, definitely, is ride my bike onto a ferry. And I need to go across this river because the bridge is not there, obviously, or they're building it, whatever. So this is the first. I'm glad I didn't take that. Now that's a different kind of ferry. I'm sure it's a cheaper one. This one might be a little bit more expensive, but I think I'll absorb the cost. My bike on the ferry, but they got this big gigantic heavy truck. And you see they got a bus coming on this ferry as well, and they seem to be digging away at the back wheels to get that bus on here. And there's a couple of minivans up there on top of that hill. I should get off this ferry, right? Well, it's going to be an adventure. They serve food. I should have taken that ferry. Actually, I should have taken that one. I think it would have been a lot more fun. Well, I'm happy to say that it looks like I'm going to survive the ferry crossing because we're almost on the other side. And they got all those gadgets on this ferry. But I better get ready because I'm sure as soon as this thing hits the land, we're out of here. Now there's a ferry for you. Now just for the record, that bridge behind there isn't broken, hasn't broken down. They're actually just building it. Something that's going to replace the ferries that actually take people across here. And as you can see just by my latest adventure, they put a surprisingly large amount of things on that ferry. And I'm sure by any other standards, it would never have been allowed because there was a bus, there was a gigantic truck. There's 4 minivans, me. That bus was full of people, so it wasn't like it was an empty bus. It gets everybody across the river, and this is the Mekong River. It's the only way across. But now, as you can see behind me, they're building that bridge, so pretty soon there's going to be a bridge. Not be able to do this anymore, so I'm glad I actually had the opportunity to do it. Bit of a hair-raising, unique experience. Well, it's nice. I'm on my way to my next destination. It was good fun. I enjoyed this one a lot. I wasn't even expecting this. I'm in Pacquiao, small village. My rule of thumb basically when I'm out here doing these rural trips is by 4 o'clock I want to be in a hotel or in a town that I'm going to be staying in anyways. That gives me about 2 hours of daylight in case something went wrong that I can fix and I can get somewhere. So I found this little guest house. Nice thing about guest houses are they're really cheap. For instance, the room that I'm paying for now, I'm paying $9.50 for the night, which includes breakfast. And then you wonder about security, so geez, I wonder if my bike's going to be safe. Well, of course it's going to be safe because they allow you to park it inside. I just unpacked it, and it's just a little tiny room. Has all the basics. It's got a bed, all my kit. It's got a TV. Like I said, it's got Wi-Fi. The best thing about it is, because I'm in Asia, of course, it's got a Western toilet and a shower gadget. So, it's all good, man. I can't complain. So I found a place to eat. It might not seem like a big deal, but it's really difficult to find places to eat in these rural areas because I'm staying in guest houses and nobody really eats out. But I did find this place, and I have no idea what was on the menu. But I worked my way through it, and it seems as though this is crocodile. Not alligator, I've had alligator before, but I don't think I've ever had a crocodile. We're going on descriptions only, and the way he described it, it's a crocodile. There's plenty of crocodiles around here. And I got some shrimps. Things like that. So let's see how this works out. Will I survive? I don't know, but I got a couple of beers. The big gigantic beers the size of a wine bottle. And I got some crocodile and I've got some shrimps. What more could I ask for? Well, I have to say my food is really good. And I have a dinner guest who sat with me the whole time. Didn't move. Ate my shrimp tails. But it's actually fantastic alligator. Assuming that the water here is very clean because this is a water truck and they're pumping up the water from the river into their truck. That's how they get their water. Not a bad way to do it, I guess. Seems to be plenty of it here. That's not something you see every day. Well, I was winding down this road at a stupid speed, of course, as I do. I ran into a motorcycle coming the other way and I had the most terrible wipeout, and it's the first time I wiped out on a motorcycle and face planted myself in years and years, and man, my foot hurts, my leg hurts, everything hurts after that. But I'm stopped here for a second, and I gotta pay to go into an elephant place. I seen a sign along the way, and there seems to be some kind of an elephant sanctuary here. This little dude wants me to talk to somebody. Hang on. Well, it wasn't easy finding this place, and I didn't actually get there. It wasn't possible. Along the way, I suffered a crash, which is the first time I've actually crashed on a motorcycle in decades. Motorcycle coming the other way, me going that way, driving a bit silly as they sometimes do, and I'm going way too fast as I always do. We crashed into each other. I hit the dirt, a little bit sore, a little bit bruised, ego bruised. No, I'm kidding. But the guy was such a nice guy. The reason why I got to tell that story is after we actually crashed into each other, we helped each other up off our bikes, picked our bikes up and stuff, and in his broken English, apologized, said sorry, and then he gave me a hug. Which is something that I really wasn't expecting. Very sweet, you know. I mean, who does that, right? It's the first time it's ever happened to me, you know. I can't get into this elephant conservation area because it's actually quite an important one, as I found out, and it seems to be full completely. It's high season. All the reservations are booked up and people from all over the place. And it seems they have an elephant hospital and things like that there as well. So it's not a tourist place, it's a serious place, and they allow visitors. And unfortunately, they only have a limited amount of visitors. And because of the remoteness of this area, as you can see, I've been driving for hours on these little trails, they only have a couple of guest houses, so they can't accommodate me today, and I can't stick around. Sad, woe is me, but next time I'll find something else along the way, I'm sure, and continue with my adventure. I'm glad I got a tough bike. Well, it may not look like much, but I've spent the better part of an hour trying to get myself out of this ravine. You know, with a bunch of gear, doing okay until I fell into it. Now I'm sort of stuck. And I've got a long way to go in this jungle, man. And it's starting to get really, really hot. Keep you posted on what's going on. Part of the Laos adventure. I'm out, partially up the hill. I'm glad I'm in reasonable shape. Picked this thing up a few times. You know, yesterday I said, oh, it's the first time I hit the dirt on a motorcycle in decades. Well, I probably did it about 4 times today. It's been a long time and I am a long way from nowhere. I'll get there. Certainly is beautiful out in the countryside here in Laos. Give you an idea of how rural it is out here. Now I'm really out on the backwoods, riding these trails. Homemade bridge. I'm sure at certain times of year it gets pretty full of water, right? As rivers tend to do. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. If you notice, they made it with just normal trees. Good, serves its purpose well. Who knows what I'm going to find next? I have no idea where I am. Well, I kind of know where I am, but I don't know where I'm headed on this road. Supposedly there's a small village up here. I'm going to hang a left, other left, right, and then I should find my way to Luang Prabang. See how that goes. I discovered a very rural village in the middle of nowhere after riding on a dirt road. It's an interesting little place. Very cool to see. Lots of pigs walking around. It's a cheap pig. Here's another dumb thing to do. Now I can't get out. I'm covered in mud. It's been a long day, and I've only gone like 15 kilometers. You ever have one of those days where you just second guess your better judgment? I'm having one of those days today. I found a trail on Google Maps. It's probably about 40 kilometers long or more. Take me from one road back to the same road, but off-road. You can see there's a stream behind me I just crossed. Now this is the shallowest stream I've crossed. I crossed 2 other ones that were like really deep. Give you a little view of my attire. Yeah, I got a little bit wet. Hit the dirt a couple of times. Some pretty hardcore riding, and this trail is deceiving on Google Maps because obviously it's just a brown line on Google Maps, but it sort of looks like that all the way. And I've been riding on it for about half an hour now. And, it's not what I call treacherous, but geez, it's one of those experienced rider trails, you know. It's not something that you can easily navigate, but it is beautiful. I'm in the jungles of Laos. Pretty wild in itself, right? If I get stuck out here, I don't know what the frick's gonna happen. I got no service on my mobile, and this is obviously a path that's not very well taken. It's all good though, man. I'm having a great time. All right, well, here's something interesting that I didn't know about Laos. This is cassava. Truckloads and truckloads of cassava, and they harvest the cassava here in the rural area. So I'm standing here with a guy named Joseph, who speaks English. It was very rare. He's a Catholic from Laos, and he intercepted me as soon as I rode my bike in, and started explaining to me about all the cassava that they grow here in the region. Thank you very much, Joseph.
Never mind.
Very nice.
Something ask me. I can help you to take picture.
That's excellent. Thank you, Joseph. Love this place. Can't believe how much cassava is here, man. I've never seen so much in my life. Well, out of all the extreme, ridiculous situations I found myself in today, I covered a distance that should have normally taken me about 30 minutes and taken me 4 hours. I have to say, it was tough. It was tough going. So I was stopping in this little mom and pop place on the side of the road, and you know, you can't really trust a lot of the food over here, but I think scrambled eggs and sticky rice, that'll do me right now. Since I haven't eaten all day, and I'm gonna have something to eat now. It's been a pretty cool adventure. It's pretty hot. It started out this morning as 8 degrees. There's a big temperature variation. A lot of clothes coming off. There's the master chef in the kitchen, working hard. I asked for scrambled eggs and rice, and his little daughter went running out the door. She came back 2 minutes later with a bunch of eggs from a farmer that's got a bunch of chickens next door. Too much fun. Well, look at me. I survived another day. I just came out of this clinic, and lucky for me, no big deal. I got a bit of a sprained foot, so he says, because he can't take an x-ray. And I definitely have some bruised ribs, because I had a really, really bad spill later on in the day that I didn't record any of. Oh, but it was a day. So now I'm in Luang Prabang on the Mekong River. I'm standing in front of my guest house. I definitely need some landing beers and a sundowner or something like this after this trip away. It was only 150 kilometers, but it was unbelievable. You can see where I'm going to be dining tonight on the Mekong River. It's going to be nice. Tomorrow I think I'm going to try and take it a little more easy. Maybe not. Oh, it hurts when I laugh. Oh, yeah. This is my balcony. You can see down there with my ride, Luang Prabang. So I'm going to limp my way over to see what I can see. This is a nice little spot I found. Very, very small place. Just a few seats. I got my bag full of pills, and they're going to help me through the day. Some ginger to wash it down with. And going to enjoy some good local food. As the monks proceed down here, there's a few hundred of them walk by at a time. Well, not a few hundred, but a few of them walk by at a time. There's hundreds of them. You can give them donations of rice. I got my sticky rice. You can give donations. And lots and lots and lots. Been here for an hour, and they just keep on coming by. Area 2 of the Plain of Jars. I've never been to Area 1, I stopped at Area 2 now. It's quite amazing. This one's in the trees. As you can see, sorry for all the noise, but I'm walking on leaves. These have been here for so long, they're so ancient that some, as you can see, the trees have grown through the pot. And these are not small. They can be found all over the place around here. And because there's so many landmines and so many things in the area, and this was so heavily bombed during the Vietnam conflict, these areas have been cleared that you can actually walk around them, but not all of these places are like that. It's an amazing sight, and these things aren't small, you know. I'll show you. This here gadget right here is bigger than I am, obviously. These pots are huge. It's all over the landscape. It's amazing. Plain of jars. Well, I'm certainly not going to make a visit to Vientiane without going to the Cope Center. Cope Center is a dedicated organization for people who lose their limbs. And they lose their limbs because of all the bombs that were dropped here during the Vietnam conflict. Laos is the heaviest bombed country on the face of the earth. It's unbelievable how many bombs they actually dropped here during the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, it's said that they dropped more bombs here during the 5-year conflict than they did in the entire World War II campaign. It's unbelievable. And over 30% of those bombs are still laying around in fields and things like that. So a lot of the people, they can't go farming, they can't dig rice paddies and all that stuff, because when they do, they end up blowing themselves up. So a lot of people are afraid to do that. A lot of times the kids will find these cluster bombs around. They'll think they're fruit because they're like little round tennis ball looking things, and they'll pick them up and they'll get blown up. The big thing around here is scrap metal. Bombs are very heavy, they're like 500 pounds, 250 kilos or so. They find one of these bombs and all they think is money. So they pick these things up and they sell the scrap metal. A lot of times these things are still alive. So they pick them up or they move them and they blow up. So it happens a lot here, a lot. 12,000 people have died since the war of bombs. And during my ride, I've seen a lot of that. I was riding through villages and stuff and I've seen kids with one leg walking with a stick. I've seen old people with one leg or missing arm. I've seen a lot of this as I was riding around. And I also seen EOD ordnance disposal units in rice fields. Didn't have time to take pictures because I was riding too fast and things like that, but I've seen a lot of that around during this trip. And it's something a lot of people don't know, because during the Vietnam War, the Americans kept it quiet that they're kicking the shit out of Laos. And the reason why they're beating the shit out of Laos like that is because the Ho Chi Minh Trail that the Vietnamese were using from communist Vietnam down to the south came right through the country of Laos because it's a neighbor. Cope Center. I got some souvenirs. I got a big bag full of stuff, t-shirts and mugs and everything like this. All the money goes 100% directly to the foundation. I couldn't come to Vientiane without visiting.